and welcome to another edition of Talk Tourism. As Barbados seeks to enhance and expand its reputation as a destination of choice, tourism officials are placing greater emphasis on research and planning. The Ministry of Tourism has produced a white paper on the way forward for the industry and is now creating a tourism master plan, which will make that vision a reality.
Tourism in Barbados has developed in a rather ad hoc manner, and many times Barbadians were not able to give input as to where they wanted the industry to go, how they felt about the industry. So we decided that as the first step to doing a master plan, we would have this white paper. The other reason is that you find that there are some countries that have done master plans and they've ended up on shelves. And we do have that problem in Barbados, so we don't want it to happen with our tourism master plan. So we feel that we need to have buy-in right through the process, beginning with the vision as to, like I said, where tourism should go.
Ideas flowed at the public consultations held to canvass public opinion and encourage buy-in.
I think that input was quite rich, given that tourism is something that sometimes, because it doesn't impact on persons directly or they think it doesn't, people will tend not to be very passionate about tourism. But we had persons who came out and who were very frank in their discussions and in their suggestions, and it's very rich. It tells us what it is that Barbadians feel about tourism.
Opinion was strong that Barbados needed to move beyond its sun, sand, and sea image.
What we found over the last 20 years or so is that almost every country is getting involved in tourism. So it's not only Barbados, it's not only the Caribbean, it's countries in North and South America, it's countries in Africa, in Asia, in the Pacific. Everybody's becoming involved in tourism. And there are lots of countries selling sun, sea, and sand. We need to distinguish ourselves from all these other countries. And one of the best ways of doing that is by focusing on the other things that you can do on island. Our culture and our heritage and our people are the unique things about Barbados. And this is where we can sell and where we can distinguish ourselves from all these other countries.
The white paper also addresses other ways in which Barbados can hold its own among the ever-increasing competition.
We need now to look at what can we do to mitigate that competitiveness. And one of those things is being innovative. So the white paper calls on us to be innovative through developing new products and services, as well as facilitating investment.
Creating a culture of service excellence is one of the key goals going forward, with the white paper noting the premium that discerning travelers place on a high quality of service.
You'll find that persons come to Barbados, they're paying a lot of money to come here, and therefore they're expecting to get really high service from that vacation. Service is key. Persons don't mind paying a little bit more to come to a destination if they're sure that the quality of the service that they will receive is beyond what they expect. So the white paper has a number of strategies in terms of how can we continue to develop our workforce.
Chief among these is training for industry workers.
And it has to be both at the top and at the bottom. Because if you train the bottom, you don't train the top, you'll be back to square one. We also need to have persons who are passionate about service and who recognize that there's a difference between service and servitude.
Much emphasis will be placed going forward on attracting the brightest and the best to the sector.
What we also need to do is that the industry had a problem over the years in not attracting the brightest persons, the brightest minds. It's normally seen as an industry of last resort. So you find that one of our challenges has been to attract persons to the sector, to let persons know that regardless of what skills you have, regardless of your educational level, that there are opportunities in tourism. So one of our major programs will be to work on raising the awareness and involvement of Barbadians in tourism. And this can be done through many programs, and it also feeds into the youth because we see them as the future of tourism in Barbados. And if they don't know about the opportunities, they don't know the benefits, then they will look elsewhere for work and so on.
Now that the vision for the tourism industry has been spelled out in the white paper, the next step is the development of the tourism master plan and the draft document is currently being prepared.
The tourism master plan, at the end of the day, it looks at where we want to go, our vision for tourism, which would have been enunciated in the white paper. And then it looks at actions and strategies that can be put in place. This is actually the plan, what we will do. It's like you may have an idea to build a house and you know what your house should look like or what kind of house you want, but then you will go to an architect and he will draw the plan. So the tourism master plan is the plan. The white paper was our vision for that house.
Once the tourism master plan has been formalized, we'll update you on the specific strategies that will be put into place to take our tourism industry forward. Next up, we're taking a look at an initiative which was created to make our shores more welcoming for persons with disabilities. It's called Fully Accessible Barbados, and it's a collaboration between the Ministry of Tourism and the Barbados Council for the Disabled.
What we're trying to actually do here is create a barrier-free environment for all. There are 2 billion persons worldwide with a disability. Take America, for example. 60 million or so Americans have a disability. 2 million of those persons can afford to travel. They have the economic ability to travel, and they will seldom travel alone, and this is a great value for Barbados.
Rosanna Tudor of the Council for the Disabled says that the tourism industry has to be prepared to embrace this segment of the market, which also includes long-term visitors to Barbados who are now aging.
It's growing, it's emerging, it is there, it has been there for quite some time. But the market has not been preparing for them. And we recognize that because of all these wars, disability is being acquired more than you're born with it now. So there are a lot of people who can't afford to have a holiday or vacation. There is the fact too that the population is getting aged, and they are also looking for access, ease of access. They may not be in a wheelchair, but many of them end up with a hip replacement or some form of mobility challenge, and they're coming back to Barbados. We pride ourselves in these long-term arrivals, you know. These long-term arrivals and 25-year visitors, they are telling us that they're looking for restaurants and hotels that have the grab bars, that have a little nice ramp that would make it easier for them to get into the hotel or the elevator. You know, these are things that they're looking for. We can't just depend on these visitors being young all the time. They're getting older.
The Fully Accessible Barbados project therefore assesses hotels, restaurants, and all related tourism facilities for levels of accessibility. What are they looking for?
Independence, where an independent wheelchair user can come in and go anywhere on his own or her own. Then there is the assisted one, when you can get some level of assistance. Then there is another level where you can be walking with a walker or a rollator, and you can walk a couple stairs at a time. Then there is the blind. We look for any hindrance in the path of a person who's blind. We look for braille offered on the rooms. We look for the deaf, the indicator that there is a fire indicator, the strobe lights that are available now, and more hotels are beginning to put these things in. And it's encouraging, it's really encouraging us, and that's why we're not going to give up the fight.
The Council's Fully Accessible Barbados website answers queries from potential visitors about accessible facilities on the island and has had more than 3,000 visits since its launch a year ago. One such visitor was Sue Moser from Cincinnati, Ohio, who recently arrived in Barbados on board a cruise liner with 10 family members, including her wheelchair-bound father.
I first tried with Royal Caribbean to find some information on beach wheelchairs and had no luck, so we wound up just contacting the different tourism bureaus through the internet, and they put us in contact with the Disability Services on Barbados. They're very helpful, very accommodating. You know, just tried to meet our needs to go to the beach for the day. The van came and got us and brought us to the beach. We had the wheelchair waiting, so it's been great.
The Ministry of Tourism is encouraging service providers in the tourism industry to become involved in this program.
It doesn't have to be expensive either to adapt the property or equip or modernize the property where they're thinking it would be. But they also have the Ministry of Tourism also have our Tourism Development Act, where persons want to adapt their property or modernize their property could apply for duty-free concessions under the Act.
For more information on the Fully Accessible Barbados project, you may contact the Ministry of Tourism at 430-7500 or the Council for the Disabled at 427-8136. Welcome to Ocean 2 Resort, where you're about to meet Front Office Manager Natalie King. Natalie was voted both Manager and Trainer of the Year for 2012.
As Front Office Manager, you really are in charge of everything at the front of the line, which basically is all the guest requests, all the requirements, just ensuring the smooth operation. That is the bellman, concierge, check-in, check-out. So most of the time you will find me on the floor, just greeting guests, mingling with the guests, finding out how their experience is, if they have any challenges, just rectifying those challenges.
The primary mission of the front office staff is to exceed guest expectations.
I think every guest comes to the Caribbean, to Barbados, with an idea. The sun always shines, everyone is happy, everything is perfect. And anytime anything ripples that perfection, it's our job to then fix it. So something as simple as the rain falling. If they come in the rainy season and it rains twice in their vacation, it ruins their holiday. So you then have to find another way to direct their focus on something that's positive. And then that becomes a challenge then, and a challenge we love to overcome, so that they can still say it rained twice, but we had a fantastic time in Barbados and we can't wait to be back.
To achieve these goals, there are certain qualities persons working in guest relations must bring to the table.
On any given day, there's something different, something you would never have expected to come up. Some situation, you have to find some way to deal with that and to deal with that in a correct way. So I would say you definitely need to be flexible, be able to think out of the box, and you have to have a lot of patience, and you have to have the natural ability to like people and want to interact with people. And that's basically it. If you have those qualities, then you can definitely make it in the industry.
As a trainer, Natalie is particularly interested in working with young recruits to the industry.
I would say going forward, I want to expand in terms of training, and I would really like to get into training the younger people in the industry. There are a lot of pitfalls that you make, that if you have the right guidance, that you can't avoid those pitfalls. And I find some people don't like to share information, but I have information, I really want to share it. So that is one of the things I would like to do. To be an effective trainer, you have to have personality, because you don't just want to talk at your students. You want to make sure at the end of the day when they leave that they take something of what you taught them with them. And I think you need to be interactive. Again, think outside the box and be able to read the persons that you're actually training, because everyone has different needs and different personalities. So you need to be very, very much aware of that.
And what advice does she have for young people interested in a career in the industry?
I would say that if that is what you really want to do, then you need to start training yourself from young. And you get out there, you get involved in summer programs, you make it your business to follow what's going on, in not only in Barbados, but in the tourism industry as a whole, because globally it's changing. And we have to realize that we have to make a difference. We need to find a way to stand out in order to market our tourism. So in order to do that, I think we need to start with our youth, and for them to start early, and then they can get an idea of what it really, really means to be in the industry, and not a rose-colored glimpse of what it is. And when they get here, it's a challenge for them and they have to start over in a new career.
For Natalie, the industry has provided a rewarding career thus far.
I love the fact that my job is not boring. Every day there's something different, there's always a new challenge, and you get to meet people, and I'm really a people's person. And I love seeing a guest face light up, because they had such a fantastic stay. They love the island, I love interacting with the guests, interacting with the staff. It really is a non-stop action job, I would say.
And that's it for this edition of Talk Tourism. Join us again next time as we explore other tourism issues and meet some more of the interesting people involved in the sector.